Hello, Nikhil. Welcome to the ContextQA webinar series. Thank you very much for your time and your willingness to help QA community and sharing your experience. Um, I would like to welcome to our show. And can you please introduce yourself to the audience of ContextQA?
Sure. Thank you, Deep, for having me this, and thank you to your entire team, okay, for reaching out to me and giving me this opportunity to speak about test automation. And I welcome everyone who is watching us as of now in this webinar. And this is my first time. I'm recording. I'm in a recording with the CEO of a company. So
Mhm,
this is really excellent, and thanks again. So
mhm,
about me, I'm having 6+ years of experience in software testing. Okay, and these days I am more into automation because and AI, how AI can uh, speed up the automation and save time. And I started my career 6 years ago. Okay, as a mobile app tester, but now these days I'm more into QAs, and I'm trying to motivate people around me to start with the QA, with the automation, and okay, and try to automate the repetitive test cases and repetitive task in the
mhm,
test in the testing.
mhm. Okay, so thanks for highlighting this. Yes. So I will provide a quick introduction to the audience who doesn't know me. So I am
Okay.
a founder and CEO of ContextQA, a software test automation platform. It is based out of Austin, Texas. And our goal is to empower QA teams to be more efficient using the AI-powered tools. So they have the right tools to automate day-to-day tasks or day-to-day testing activities using context QA. So they are not reinventing the wheel and saving their time, and the time can be utilized in the different software testing activities. Moving forward, so thanks for providing the introduction. Thanks for sharing your experiences again with
Yeah.
the team.
Thanks.
Can you tell me what is your definition of software test automation? Because in the LinkedIn world or in the general world, there are people are it is automation or not, it is a manual versus automation. There are so many terminologies. Tell me about what is a test automation for you.
Okay. Okay. So this is a really nice question, Deep. So
Mm,
automation, I believe automation in testing means to write some code for the existing test cases, okay, to get executed on demand and generate a report automatically for us. Okay,
mhm,
so this automated process of executing the test cases is so fast than a human executes. So
mhm,
according to me, test automation is, just convert your repetitive tasks,
mhm.
repetitive test cases, okay, with the help of any open source tool or some low code tools, all right, and save time and reduce the test execution time. So there are
Okay.
several methods to do this.
Mhm.
You can take help of an low code no code tool, or you can go for an open source like Selenium, or for mobile automation you can go for APM.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, so just if I speak it back, what you mentioned is software test automation is about using any low code, no code tool or testing framework, but find the repetitive tasks that you are doing in your software testing activities, automate those things so it can be much more faster and
Yeah,
continuous. And then it generates a report, and it will be a consistent effort. So you do not need to do the same mundane task day to day. Okay, so
yeah,
that is.
yeah.
Can you tell me from the start to end, okay, what are the thought process? So if, for example, you are hired and get into some organizations and
Mm,
you are a software test engineer with automation background, if someone gives you the task of, "Oh, yes, our goal is to automate these many functionalities," where would you start with that? Can you provide me like very basic understanding, like how to start from ground zero in the software test automation?
Okay. Okay. So actually, you are trying to, you're trying to put some lights on the steps to get started into test automation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, you should be very clear about your objective of test automation. What exactly you are trying to achieve by automating the test cases, or what exactly you need or your organization need, okay, behind this test automation. Okay. So that first thing that you need to be very clear about the objective, that what output you are going to add to the business, okay, why they have been hired you, and what exactly they want from you as automation tester or as automation QA. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the step one is to decide the tools, which tool you are going to use, which tool you are comfortable with, or which tool is there, which framework is there in your current organization. Okay, so first you have to understand that if there is no framework and they want you to, propose something, so you can propose something which you are comfortable in and which is good according to the objective of this test automation things. So you can learn the basics of programming language. Okay, because if you are going for an open source tool, because most of the time business they wants to start with a free or open source tool, so you should be very
Mm-hmm.
good with the programming language. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then learn about the capability and the methods and the
Mm-hmm.
features of the tool that you are going to use. All right,
Mm-hmm.
then learn about the locators. Okay, because if you are going for an UI automation, okay, and so you should be very, good in writing the locators for the elements that your script is going to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then start with a very simple test case. Most of the time, login or sign up test cases. Start with a small, with an easy one, and then take your journey to the medium complex and then more complex things. And in this journey you need to be very careful about the selection of the test cases, because you might have thousands or 500 or something, a large set of test cases, okay, which business wants you to automate. And so just think about which test cases are good to automate, which make sense for you, and then try to understand your business, your management, that these are the plans and these we should automate. These are the repetitive, or these are the test cases that we use during the regression testing or sanity testing, so we can save time and this all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, so quite extensive steps are there, right? So
yeah,
first is figuring out the scope, means it is very, very important, right? You cannot blindly follow that automate everything. So it should be scoped out, what adds more value, what can provide the ROI, and then choose the right framework. Again, when you choose the right framework, it's up to your skill, your company's bandwidth or resources, as well as what can help your team based on the scope, right? Sometimes Python, sometimes Java, or sometimes JavaScript. Depends on the skill set in your team as well as your company. And then start with the simple, and then go step by step, iterative approach. And rather than focusing on the quantity, focus on the quality, right?
exactly, yes, that's right.
So thank you for mentioning all these steps. So these are the extensive steps. Now, can you explain me? You also mentioned very good points about learn the programming languages, right? You also mentioned about the choose the framework. How much time it takes and what kind of a skill set it requires to automate it? Because companies to companies, use cases might be difficult, from the login screens to the like multi-factor authentication testing versus file upload testing, right? How would you, yeah, how would you tackle these in your team? Mhm.
Okay, so the speed or the time, it depends, person to person. Okay, so let's take an example. There, let's say there is a tester, okay, who has no knowledge about test automation as of now. But he or she is very interested to, learn and start with the test automation. So uh, my suggestion is to, first go with some R&D at your level, what you are good in, which programming language you are comfortable with. Okay,
Mm.
so go for the basics. Let's suppose you want to go with a trending combination, the Selenium with Java, right? So go and check the basics of Java. How does it work? What it is? Okay, and how is it being used in software testing automation, software test automation? Okay, because Java is a, a big language to learn. Okay, there's frameworks inside this. Okay, but you just need to be a focus on the part which you really need to, you really you are going to use in your test automation. That part you need to figure out first of all. Okay,
Mhm.
work on this, and according to me, it might take 2 to 3 months, okay, to learn the basics of, and keep doing the practice on this. Okay, so 2 3 months is a sufficient time for a resource to, just get started with the test automation in by after learning the programming language, and then decide the tool if you are going for with APM for mobile automation, and if you want to do UI automation using Selenium, so learn about the Selenium, its capability, its feature, benefit and limitation, its architecture also. So keep focus on the basics of these tools and the programming language.
Okay. So, so you mentioned about the person who was interested into automation but didn't do the automation in the past. So
Yeah,
they would learn first the programming language, right? And then they would learn the framework and then go and implement.
yeah.
If company has a goal of automating like 200 test cases, how much time normally it takes to automate in the Selenium world, right? Assume in your team you have one experienced tester and one is like the one who is just junior or mid level or
Yeah.
no to limited automation experience. So how much time, based on your experience, either APM or Selenium, doesn't matter, it takes to automate and maintain those test cases?
Well, again, this is going to be a long process. This might take months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, this might take months. And it can take a week to, just the plan for the 200 test cases, where to start. Okay, there might be lots of challenges, reporting, and once you start automating, you come up with so many suggestions. Okay, we should do this and this. So that is a long process of doing this using an open source tool where you need to write code. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is a long process. This is going to be a long process, and but yes, this is not a task of one person or two-person. Of course, if business wants this to get done in less time, so of course there is a more person we need, or a manager need to, put into the automation team and speed up the process.
Okay, so two things you mentioned here. It's feasible to automate, but again, it either requires more resources or more time, right? There is no magic in between.
Yes, time investment is definitely going to be more in this case.
Question.
Okay.
So my question for you was, you mentioned it takes time or more resources. What in software testing automation process takes more time and more resources? Can you break it
Yes.
down for us?
Okay. So you want to ask how much time will it take, right?
Yes. So no, generally you mentioned about, right, to automate 200 test cases or 400 test cases, it takes months
Mm-hmm.
of time to automate, right? My question
Mm-hmm.
is, w- what are the tasks involved in this test automation that takes more of your time, your team's time,
Okay.
and why, right? And same for creating or maintaining. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nice question. So first of all, again, we need to be very clear about the objective of this test automation. Okay. This is not a magic, first of all. Most of the people who are not from the QA background, okay, who are, but still, so they think that, okay, let's automate the test cases, and then we don't need a person to, in this project or in this product for testing. So this is completely, false statement. You need a person to maintain the automated test cases, maintain the script, because things, there are a term flaky tests, right?
Mhm.
So of course you need. So first of all, you need to be very clear about the objective, what exactly you're going to automate. So make some suits, okay, of the test cases. You can, how you can prioritize your test cases first. Okay, let's suppose you have 200 test cases. There might be some UI cases, some functional cases, some small cases, some cases might have long steps. So go with the easy one. Start with the easy test cases. Break down the test cases in some groups, okay, or suits, and then according to the skill set of the person, you can assign the test cases. Okay, so for example, someone is not that good in the programming, so you can ask that person to just write the locators for the particular test case. And another one who better than that person in coding. Okay, so you can ask that, okay, you utilize these locators and just keep doing things. So these kind of syncing you need to be follow in these such cases. And then you have to be, watch what exactly is going on, take a status and all, and suggest time to time what exactly, because there might be the chances, okay, they have been in between somewhere, they might have some they might be doing some things that can be, that can be achieved in less time, or they you can, let them know the reusability or the oops concept or something. Okay, you can suggest based on your experience to speed it up.
Okay. Okay. So thanks for explaining, but our question was slightly different. So let me speak it back. So our question was, which are the activities in the software testing automation process takes more time, right? One of the things you might have mentioned is finding locators, right? Or writing code or verifying and maintaining continuously. I don't know what are the other activities, but why it is taking more time. You also mentioned in between, right? Less experience versus experienced person. But can you break it down into like for example, if you take one test case, it takes X amount of time because you need to find locators and you need to do XYZ and research and all those things. Can you break it down such a way that so people who are your manager can understand why it is taking 8 hours of time to write one test case or automate one test case? And if you have like a 3 or 4 team members, they're still struggling with Java and all, why it takes 4 days or entire week to just automate two test cases? And when someone changes the code, it breaks again, and then entire team works on it and makes it work, and then it takes more time. Can you just explain your like one sprint of task with your team and your colleagues that doing the automation, right? So someone from the other side can understand what goes into the building this automation at the very bricks level or unit level, so they can understand what takes more time in the practical world.
Okay, okay. So there are commonly there are two things that as per me that takes time. So first is to, find the locators. Finding
Mhm.
locators is the first step of writing the uh, starting with the test automation. Okay, so sometimes it is very easy. You can find by ID, by name, very easy. But in some uh, complex applications like Salesforce, okay,
Mhm.
so they provide the releases, okay, in 3 releases in a year. So they change the DOM, the structure of the HTML structure where the locators works. So it is very, sometimes very tough to find a locator. Okay, it can
Mhm.
take up to 1 hour. It sometimes it can take 2 hours of yours and just find an element. Okay,
Mhm.
the second is uh, automating the steps of a test case. Okay, in coding, if we talk about Java, so steps, automating these steps can take time, because if you're not, that expert in coding. Obviously, testers are, they choose testing field because they don't want to do most of the time the coding, and they don't want to get into this. They like to break the things. And okay, so it takes time for programming and coding these things. So these two things. And third, if you talk about then CI/CD, maintaining that CI/CD, most sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and you don't do anything. It
Mhm.
works by its own. Sometimes it doesn't work. Then find out the root cause why it is not working. There might be some environmental changes, or sometimes your test works, but when you are going to present to your manager, then you see, oh my God, why these are not working? They were working, but so there might be flakiness, and there might be synchronization between the steps.
Mhm.
So you have to be very good in giving the timeouts, and waiting for an element to present on a UI. So maintaining the synchronization can also take time.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks for explaining this.
Yeah.
One important question I have, and it might be some secrets that you need to share here. So when the managers sees or explains to us is that automation is working fine, there is no maintenance is required, everything is green, right? And theoretically it might be that's how it's being reported, but in practical world there might be a lots of things goes into it, as we know, right, as a part of the CI/CD pipeline. So for example, uh, there are some test cases failing. Developers looks into it, comes back, figures out next day, fixes it, and then runs again locally, and everything looks green, and just yes, things are working fine. And then these things happens again and again. So maintenance and not having the consistency or flakiness result. But from the manager's point of view, they don't see these gaps. Is it common, or it is not? I'm just trying to understand here.
Yeah, this is a genuine question. This is really common. I think everyone who is more into the automation, okay, they are suffering from this, because this is something that you cannot present. So this is working on the developer system but not working on my system, so I have to raise it. Okay, and I need to fix it again locally. It is working good, looks good, things are green, but again, when I'm trying to do, some cases are failing. And so sometimes this uh, sometimes they understand, okay, take your time and fix it. But it 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 might take your entire day just to
Mhm.
find the root cause, what is happening in this. Okay, so then it becomes difficult to make them understand. Okay, so it took time here, and I was trying to do something, figuring out what's wrong in these scripts, what's wrong in the CI/CD pipeline.
Mhm.
So it is a common challenge for those who are into the automation. They can
Okay.
understand the pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So one question I ask is, so from the organization level, right, there is a task to automate X test cases. And let's say example, with certain months of time, the company did automated those test cases. Now, when it comes to the daily reporting of those test cases, our managers are interested into understanding how many taste like this report, right? How many are those, what reported is based on the automation or manually? Because what I'm learning is one time automation is done, so it is fixed. Okay, we have 80% automation there. When it comes to the time, okay, this is the time we want to provide the like a today's execution report. It says, okay, everything is green or everything works fine. But out of those, all might not be run through the automation. Whatever run through the automation, it's there. Rest of the stuff is being taken care manually or reported manually. And that gray area is not conveyed to the leaders or the managers. And so they are in the bubble or the understanding that, okay, we have automation and we are testing continuously, And on the other side, there are gaps in the automation, flakiness, consistency, but those gaps are being overshadowed and not clearly communicated to the leaders and being done through manually. Is it a common scenarios or it is not?
Yeah, this again this depends on how you communicating the output of your um, people to the leaders. Okay, if you are, if you are able to convince them, okay, so this is taking time. These are the cases which, we are not automating. These we need to execute manually. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and these are the set of test cases that our scripts are running. Okay, so we are lacking in this here. Okay, so okay, there might be some scenarios where we need to, test only a set of cases on different environments manually. So
Mm-hmm.
that might take more time than the automated test cases. So of course, they can think, okay, so 80% of this test base already automated. So why it is taking time? So
Mm-hmm.
these scenarios comes, but still you need to be very uh, proactive because he or she is going to ask this question, so you should be very good. You should be handy with the plan, with a reply. Okay, so these are my proofs taking time and these all things. So this is again a common thing that happens.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Hmm. So let me ask you the questions about the right tools and frameworks, right?
Mhm.
So in the industry, that there are tools, open source tools, there are low code, no code tools, other tools as well. What would you suggest when it is build versus buy? When should you build your own frameworks versus you should buy, right? That is one question. And which are the frameworks would you suggest?
Okay, so again, uh, if if the organization is more focused on the quality, okay, and they are ready to invest in something, so I would recommend to go for a low code. Okay, go in the market. There are several options available these days. Okay, check which solution is best fit for your requirements, which
Mhm,
has your people can start working as soon as possible. There should be a great integration with the CI/CD tools like Jenkins, Bamboo, and all. Okay, and what reporting you are looking for exactly? Okay, so is that particular tool is meeting your reporting requirements or not, or and if it is scalable or not. So
mhm,
if the organization is really focused on quality and ready to investment, so do not waste time to create a team of software SDETs and train them for Selenium and coding, and you know let them maintain the code. In every release there are some flakiness, and also you can avoid these things. Go for a tool, and that tool will take care everything, and you can save time, and you know uh, most of your frustration will also go away by using
mhm,
a tool, because that will take care. It's obviously you don't need to be very good in uh, finding expert. Tool will go and find experts for you. Okay, and the AI power tool, they will have alternative experts. If at the runtime there are some experts which are changing, so they can
mhm,
figure out themselves. So I would suggest to go for a low code.
mhm,
Okay, and if yes, if your organization is focused on quality but not ready for the investment, okay, that much, so they can go for an open source. So Selenium is the real catalyst of the world of test automation. So go for the Selenium, and Selenium with Python, and Selenium with Java also you can go and train. Ask. You can hire one trainer if you do not have, and let your QAs, your existing testers, okay, towards the automation. So this is a time taking process, and
okay.
results output will take time, so you have to be very patient about this.
Mhm. Okay, perfect. Yeah, thanks for explaining those
Yeah.
uh, team's capability, budget, all are very important aspects, and the patience, right? When are you expecting? Again, I see in the current industry, from the manager's point of view, they are using tools capability and their team's capability interchangeably, which is different. Means tool as a Selenium is capable of doing X, but it doesn't mean your team is capable of doing X, because team might not be trained for that, right? And vice versa, right? If you have a sharp developers but they are not experienced with the tools and how to use it, then you cannot get the same value out from there. So it should be both sides. You should have the good resources in terms of the skilled resources, and choose the right frameworks, right technology that suits your use cases. Then
Exactly.
it's more value. But if one of the only thing you have, then it will not work and you will not get the expected outcome.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. So moving forward, tell me about your experience with what are the best practices would you suggest? Like you mentioned many of those things. I'm not sure, are there anything missed into the best practice around the test automation? So you mentioned about tools, frameworks, timing, patience, so many other items, but are there anything that we are missing here?
Yeah. So best practices is, again, most of the time, what I feel personally is, we start with the automation with a full of energy, but
Mhm,
after some days, when the challenges start coming, so we think, oh, will be able to do it or not? Are we doing the same? Are we investing time at the right place or not? Is
mhm,
it something that we can do? So learn from the others. Don't hesitate to, if someone is good in your team or in your peer, either on LinkedIn or somewhere, if you are struggling with someone and you are not able to crack it, okay, after your R&D, after investing 1 2 days or 7 days, so you can ask in community. So guys, I'm struggling with this one, can someone please help? Okay, so that is something you trust me, if you go and be active in the community, so you will definitely find answers. Okay, so whatever you are doing according to you, that is best practice. Okay, so but best practice for me might be different, but best practices for Deep might be different, and for our audience, someone has a different mindset. Okay, so the well-known things, clean scenarios, maintainability, scalability, framework should be scalable, and these are words in saying, these looks very good. But when you start doing this practically, okay, so you have a focus, you have a limited time to start to complete your test automation, and you have to keep your code very clean and proper commenting and scalable, reusable. So those best practices are different for everyone.
mhm,
Okay, so but I would suggest to follow some best practices, like go with a uh, perfect test case design framework, like page object model or page factory. And again, try to be very clear about the objective, about the scenarios. Select the scenarios wisely which are automatable. Don't just select the test cases, okay, which can take more time.
mhm,
There might be some cases, okay, so to automate it can take 2 days, but to execute it manually it can be a task of 10 15 minutes. So don't try to add those cases in your automation test suits. Let it be execute manually.
mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I think do not over-engineer, right? Basically, you are trying
yeah,
to say,
yeah, exactly.
evaluate the task complexity plus the how much time you are spending right now, and how
Yes,
often you gonna run it, and what could be the
yes,
answer. And if you have
yes,
A and B test, and if B is providing more ROI, then choose the B rather than A. And when you cover the B pieces or B's of those, do
yes,
the A's, right? So makes sense.
yes. And do not hesitate to take help from others.
Okay.
Post your questions in community. Go and check blogs. There are several blogs available. Go and check. Okay, so you can save time.
Okay. So this is another good point, and I would like to share my personal experience. Okay. So I'm coming from the software development background. Um, Before starting computer science or programming, I was a EC student of the EC, and programming wasn't my
Okay.
area at all. So when you are getting into the programming, there are lots of things going in your mind. How to do it's more about phobia than anything else. Like, will I be able to do it or not? And day by day, when you spend more time on the coding, you get more comfortable. But at the same time, it requires you to spend span of 8 to 10 hours daily for 5 days, 6 days a week, continuously, couple of months. Then you get that confidence. Okay.
Exactly.
So
Mm.
in the programming, I see the consistent pattern. Then only you will be able to solve the complex problems. Before that, I was only able to do the W3 schools examples or those easy Java examples only,
Exactly.
because the solution was out there. But if I wanted to create my own solution, it required me a lots of continuous practice. Even there are some solution out there fitting into my existing framework was a challenge. But that is something came over the time of practice, and continuously you learn it, watch videos and all. Now anyone can learn it. If I learn it, anyone can do it, but everyone should spend time on it. Now when we see the tester doesn't have that much time to be practical. Okay, means once they get into the job, spending time on the learning continuously is not the something that managers provide them the time, right? 6 months, 12 months, you just do the practice programming every day and then learn. And because as a developer, my job was also to develop a code, so it wasn't that difficult. But in general, right, with the tester, the expectation is different. You find the bugs, you write the bugs, you communicate with the team. So there are so many other activities along with the automation goes there. And many of the times, or maybe most of the times, automation comes the last, or it's the last. So it is ambiguous situation or contradicting a situation for the tester when they do not spend enough time into the writing and practicing their coding style or doing the automation in the right way, but the expectation is different. Do you see this kind of gap? Or I'm not sure am I explaining in the right way or not, but can you please elaborate there?
Yeah, exactly. So I would like to add on this, okay,
Hmm?
in this experience. So as you mentioned that if you keep practicing the coding, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you day by day, week by week, you feel confidence in your coding skills, of course, right? But in the real world, what happens? You are working on X project, let's say, right? And something more urgent came in picture. Okay, then you need to shift, you need to stop what you were doing, and you need to shift yourself on another task which has a greater priority. Okay, and that takes 15 days, so your practice is on hold, right? And then again, and whatever you have learned, either you have two options: either you uh, spend your more time, you spend your nights and all, okay, to keep continuing your practice and continue with your other priority task. Otherwise, your test automation, your coding practice is on hold, and you are shifting on a different project, right? So these kind of things, I believe that most of the testers in the community, they face these kind of scenarios. So as you mentioned that automation comes at last, but there's a mindset that, okay, let's automate this thing and we don't need the person anymore then on this particular task or project.
Yeah, so again, right? So at that point, I think it's a organizational fault as well, right? So it's not the tester's fault, but not providing the enough time to sharp up their skills or learn those use cases, and then coming to the like or jumping on the solution all at once also becomes more difficult, and setting the tester for failure from that point itself, because setting up the wrong expectations, right? Because that person didn't try to automate any piece of those previously, and all of a sudden now let's automate 10 test cases by next week. That cannot happen, right? Because programming or solving those Lego blocks are the like iterative process rather than the one day activities or 1 week's activity.
Yeah, but I would like to add to this, and I would like to suggest to our audience that you need to be this time you need to be come out from your comfort zone. Okay,
Mhm.
you need to spend your nights. You need, if you want to, if you want to learn automation, if you want to be different from other testers, so you have to be go with the flow. It's time for AI, it's time for low code tools, it's time for Selenium also, it's time for learning other technologies. So there are too much in the market to learn. So this now time has came, you have to come out from your comfort zone, go join community, learn about new tools, what's happening in the QA world. You need to be just complaining about someone not giving me time or something. This is not gonna resolve. Okay, you change one organization, you go another you join another organization. The same thing is happening over there, same thing, right? So you have to become you will have to come out from your comfort zone. Okay, start doing be some smart, take help of AI, chat GPT, low code, steps recorder. Okay, tools are available for writing XPath. You just need to be a little smart, and things will be good.
Yeah, so basically what you are saying is there are many steps available. Do whatever approach suits your need. Use any tool, any solution, but just keep things moving.
Yeah,
Don't stuck, right? And keep trying either through someone's
yeah,
help or by learning, by watching videos, picking,
exactly,
but keep moving forward, and then you will reach your final destination.
exactly,
No, that's
exactly.
wonderful. So no, so I completely agree with you. So now the next point I would like to discuss is why CI/CD pipeline is important, right, in the software testing. What is the value? Because if you see many of the companies, they have implemented CI/CD pipeline or continuous integration,
Mhm.
continuous delivery or deployment. They haven't included soft continuous testing as part of that pipeline. They might have sometimes unit testing or integration testing
Yeah.
included, but not the functional API testing and all other testing that being normally performed by the QA teams are included as part of this testing process. Can you explain why CI/CD pipeline important into the testing world?
Okay. So first, to understand the need of CI/CD, right? First, we have to understand the problem. So why we started test automation? Just to save our time and speed up the test execution, right? So for example, a product X has a release R1, right? And we have tested it, automated its test cases. Now the time the release 1 is in the market and the team is working on release 2, right? Version 2, right? So so continuous development is going on, continuous integration in the code is going on, right? So whatever we have already tested in release 1, okay, we need to make sure through the regression that the new integration of code does not impact the existing working functionality, right? So whenever there is a new commit on Git or whatever you're using, whenever you push the code, there should be a if you integrate your testing, so you do not need to manually uh, assign a person and test a particular task or a particular module. The existing test cases which are already automated in previous release, okay, that particular suite will start testing the existing automated is the existing features of your software. That new integration does not impact the thing. So that's why this is really important, and by doing this you can save time. So once your next release is stable and you are about to launch it, so you do not need to test your previous release plus this release, and that's too much test cases. Okay, manually it can take time. So if you have integrated your automation in your with your CI/CD pipeline, so that will do automatically for you. You can save time whenever there is a changes. So your suite can make sure that this change, whatever you are pushing, is not impacting your existing functionality.
Okay, yeah, that's very valuable. Like why CI/CD in general and why CI/CD in the software testing is very, very crucial. So thanks for explaining this. Now, I have one more question for you. You mentioned about the different environments. You mentioned about the CI/CD pipeline, right? You mentioned about the automation, reports, and all. It requires involvement of the other teams as well, because CI/CD pipelines are not being taken care by this QA team, right? It is sometimes DevOps team, sometimes developers, sometimes SRE team looking into it. So there is an external dependency. We mentioned about the CI/CD pipeline, continuous testing, multiple environment, and test automation. These are the great things in
Mhm.
terms, but it is not the only owned by software testing teams. Uh, like CI/CD pipeline are being owned by DevOps team or the SRE team or maybe developers. There are also external infrastructure owned by the different teams. So running automation, parallel execution, right? All these things are there. Do you feel anytime blocked because of you are relying on the external team members? And how would you resolve this?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes there might be a uh, dependency. If you have a scheduler running at, you know, let's suppose 10:30 in night, right? And there might be some exceptions coming in your pipeline. So you have to go and connect with your DevOps team.
Mhm,
Okay, so we are getting this problem, and emails are not coming, and report is not getting attached to this. So sometimes it happens. Okay, so you have to be in touch with the DevOps team or whatever team is, taking the ownership of this. You have to be in touch with them. So that is again time consuming,
mhm.
but it happens. It again depends on your infrastructure and your team and other stuff. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so let's move forward to the like last leg of our webinar about the monitoring and reporting of the test automation. So what are the metrics that you think could be helpful for the leadership team to know more about the software testing and understand the quality of their product? And how would you monitor enter
Okay.
software testing process?
Okay. So first of all, we need to be we need to understand the time. Okay, how much time is getting saved by integrating a test automation in a particular task. Okay, so let's suppose previously it took a month to test X product, and after automating it, okay, after investing time in automation, now it took, let's suppose, 15 days or 10 days. So
Mhm,
that metric we need to present to our leaders organization, because they are interested in ROI.
mhm,
They are not interested in your framework, in your approach CI/CD. They want what exactly you are saving for them,
mhm,
right? So this is one of the best thing you need to show your QA ROI. Okay, present it wisely. And second one is the test case effectiveness. Using
mhm,
your test automation, are you able to find bugs or not, or you are just automated the positive flow of your application and keep running, and you are just presenting the same thing again and again, and that is useless because it is not finding bugs. So you need to you know you need to present the test case effectiveness of if there is a need to add and remove some cases from your automation tool. So don't hesitate to do this. Okay, and keep training your team. Okay, keep giving them the feedback, if whether they have been using a low code tool or they are doing it using any open source. So keep giving them feedback, okay, about their work. Okay, so keep connecting with your team, keep connecting, and if you are the only one who is taking care of the automation, so you know what you did in your previous release, and you are well aware about this. So keep improving yourself, keep improving your skills, learn and implement that, and let let the business understand, okay, that you are adding value by automating something.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So visibility and communicating those information in a right way with the right metrics,
Yeah.
with right evidences
Yes.
is very crucial. Mhm.
Yes, one more thing I would like to add here, because there are several metrics on Google. You can go and check the QA matrices and you can create beautiful reports. But first, what I feel is you need to understand your audience, your manager, who is, you know, what someone is expecting from you. So
Mhm.
give him what he or she is expecting. If he is expecting that, okay, show me how much time you have saved. So give him the time metrics.
Mhm.
If someone is interested in, okay, so how many bugs are there from the automated suits, so give that metric, because that matters.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
This is perfect. So I think you answered those questions very nicely in a detailed way. So I really appreciate your time. I
Yeah,
really thank you on behalf of
thanks.
ContextQA for your time and sharing your experience and expertise. This is very valuable lessons as well as the uh, mm, mm, all these guidance that you provided could be very helpful to all the QA teams. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deep, for having me here.